Alright, so hello and welcome ladies and gentlemen to another video, and I don't sound very excited, do I? That's because I'm not. I'm just baffled and confused by this change. And I've tried recording this video or making this video a long time ago, weeks back, and it always descended into me just being angry and baffled and confused and just being speechless basically. And thanks to the title, you already know what I'm talking about. It's the removal of snapshotting mechanics. Now, for those of you who don't know what snapshotting mechanics are, basically, if you take, let's just say, an Affliction Warlock class that is heavily dependent on dot damage, well, the way to perform really well and to do nice DPS is to learn how to snapshot your dots and how to monitor your procs. So for instance, if an Affliction Warlock casts Corruption while he's under no buffs, the Corruption will be much weaker than when he casts it under Bloodlust, because the dot will gain 30% haste bonus. Now, they will not remove this, so if you get Bloodlust, if you get Bloodlust buff and you cast the dot will still be stronger. But the way to do competitive DPS was to track these buffs like Trinket procs, Lightweave if you're a Tailor, Jade Spirit, your legendary Meta Gem. It was to track these buffs and refresh your dots when you have as many buffs as possible, so they would inherit the stats you have at that time, and they would stay as strong as they were when you casted them, even though these buffs faded out. So as a Moonkin, what I would do is I would cast one spell which would proc all my buffs, and I would then apply dots. But as my cooldowns are running out and as my buffs and procs are running out, I would refresh my dots. So even though the dots faded away and my cooldowns faded away, the dots are still strong. I'm getting more damage out of them. They're ticking faster. They're doing more critical strikes, which results in more shooting stars, which results in some really good DPS. Now, that's what snapshotting does basically. If you cast a dot, it will inherit the stats you had at the time of casting that dot, and it doesn't matter that your stats get lowered because your procs faded away. The dot will stay as strong as it was when you casted it. They are removing this, and the reason behind this is just quite silly. The reason behind it is, well, the snapshotting mechanics are making the gap between bad players and good players wider. We don't like that. Okay, that's what they are basically saying. We don't like bad players being bad and good players being good. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove this snapshotting mechanic, so two players playing the same dot dependent class will be basically much closer to each other with their performance, where bad players will be better and will be doing more DPS basically, and really good players will be doing much lower DPS compared to what they can do now. That's dumbing down. That's just dumbing down. Okay, people don't want to snapshot. I'm a Moonkin. It's the only thing I find fun in a single target fight, because there is nothing else to do. I have two filler spells, I have two dots, and I have one proc. That's all I'm doing. The only enjoyment I get out of a single target fight is me clipping my dots accordingly, snapshotting them with really strong stats, so I get more damage out of them, they tick faster, they do more critical hits, and as a result I get more shooting stars. They're trying to remove this, so it doesn't really matter. So what you will do after this change is you will apply your dots, and when they're about to run out you will reapply them, and that's all you're gonna do. No clipping, no thinking about if you maybe should recast your dots because they would be stronger. No, the dots will adjust to your stats, and that's it. You don't have to pay attention. So have fun, Affliction Warlocks, just rotating your dots, looking at a bar, waiting for it to run out, press a button again. The same with Shadow Priests. No more depth. Just throw on your dots. It doesn't really matter if you get a proc. Who cares? The same with Moonkins. We will now have the second most boring playstyle there is apart from Assassination Rogues, because there is no more snapshotting. So I'm casting Wrath, then I press Moonfire Sunfire, I'm casting Starfire. Moonfire Sunfire, Wrath, Moonfire Sunfire, Starfire. And that's not all the dumbing down of DOT classes. No, no, no. You now have a 30% duration window where you can refresh your dot and it will add the duration to the next dot. So you don't even have to watch the bars. You just take a guess. Now if you have a 10-second dot, you can, the last 3 seconds you can just refresh it and it will add the duration. Who cares? Who wants to pay attention? Who wants to play a game? That's it. I am speechless once again. The only thing I can say is, fuck me. That's it.